Hello everyone, I'm Ankit. You're watching StudyIQ IAS English. One of the key problems that the students face early in their preparation phase is that they're unable to decide their optional subject. So I've decided that in our today's video, I'll tell you a scientific way to pick an optional subject which is best suited as per your own needs and circumstances, not according to what market and your friends might be saying. Now, this problem is quite common. You know why? Because in total, UPSC offers 48 different optional subjects. This includes 25 core academic subjects like geography, history, PSIR. And in addition to that, it also includes 23 literature subjects. So in total, you have 48 different options which you can choose from, and this can create problems in the mind of anyone, not just you, right? So let us understand what is the best and scientific way to choose an optional which is as per your own needs and circumstances. Now, to make things simpler, I've decided that I will upload this PPT that I will be using in the session on this particular Telegram channel known as ATS Live. So you can go to this Telegram channel, just open your Telegram app. On the top right hand corner, there's a search bar, enter the words ATS Live, you'll find the channel, download the notes from there, and while you're at it, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel also. Okay, so let us first understand the importance of optional subject in your UPSC mains examination. Now in your UPSC mains examination, a candidate from areas other than northeastern part of the country, they are expected to write as much as 9 papers. Out of these 9 papers, the language papers, that is of English and your mother tongue language, that is not scoring subject, right? So in total, the score of your mains is divided into 7 different papers. 4 for GS, 1 for essay and 2 for your optional subjects. Now each and every of these 7 papers have an equal weightage of 250 marks. So if you add the weightage of optional subject which is stretched over a 2 paper, it includes 500 marks out of total 1750 marks, which amounts to about 28.57%. So 28.57% is the weightage of your optional. So you can quietly understand that you scoring well in an optional subject will help you a lot when you have to clear this exam. But if you do not score well in your optional subject, the chances is that you making to the final list would be very thin. So all in all, what I have tried to tell you that essay, GS paper 1, 2, 3 and 4 are common for everyone. So what separates a good from an excellent candidate is the command over their optional subject. Therefore, picking a good optional subject is a sine qua non quality of you qualifying this exam. Now let us understand what are the factors that can play an important role in you deciding and not deciding an optional subject. First is your educational background. Now, first of all, let me tell you, there is no mandatory obligation on you to choose an optional subject which mirrors the same background that you have gotten your graduation in. So suppose if you have come from engineering, you can pick and choose any subject if you want. Similar is the case with people belonging to different backgrounds. Now, considering your education background and you picking an optional subject which is the same as your education background can give advantages to many sections of the aspirants. First of all, you'll have a good understanding, command over the subject because you have spent your last 3 to 4 years in undertaking different subjects in that particular education background, right? So this can play a very important role, especially if you hail from technical background like engineering, medical or law. First of all, it is very difficult for a layman to get an understanding of these subjects, so you automatically have an advantage. Similarly, if you hail from humanities background, like if you have done your graduation in political science, history, sociology, it gives you certain advantages over technical students. First of all, you're already acquainted about the concept of answer writing, which I can't say the same for education or engineering background students. Similarly, you also have a conceptual understanding of different issues which plagues Indian society. So this is the advantage that is provided to a student who already comes from a humanities background. So deciding your optional subject based on your education background can be quite advantageous for certain section of students, but not for everyone. Why? First of all, your background will only help if you still continue to have the interest in that subject. If in many cases we have seen students after their graduation and post-graduation, the interest in their education background, it dwindles. So for you guys, this is not a right way to choose an optional. You can choose optional which is same as your education background only if you have a continuing interest in the subject and if you find the syllabus to be manageable. For example, subjects like engineering, subjects like medical, they can be quite intensive in nature when it comes to syllabus. So it can be difficult in you managing the time vis-a-vis GS and general studies papers, right? So please keep that in mind, that you can take an optional subject which is same as your educational background, but only if you have a continuing interest and if you find the syllabus manageable. So this is somewhat an important criteria in you deciding the optional subject. Now let us move to the most popular criteria based on which the students decide on their optional subject is the scoring trend and the overlap of that optional subject with the general studies paper. Now this is, according to me, a wrong way of choosing an optional, because there are some subjects traditionally in the UPSC which have a significant overlap with the GS subjects. Case in point, anthropology, which has overlap with society and ethics. Sociology, as the name suggests, it overlaps with society, social justice in GS paper 1 and 2, and you also have a significant knowledge which you can utilize in your essay writing. Similarly, there is one of the most popular subjects in the UPSC arena, that is political science and international relations. So here you have acquaintance with polity part of the syllabus in GS paper 2, IR again in GS paper 2. Similarly, you can write very brilliant essays using the knowledge that you have gained from your optional subject in PSIR. Same is the case with history and geography. People find it overlapping with significant portions of GS paper 1. But understanding the scoring trends, understanding what was the optional of the toppers can be detrimental to your interest in UPSC. First of all, the scoring trends, they have been seen to fluctuate quite heavily. As you can understand, few years back, there was a very famous optional subject known as public administration. Now, the interest of people or general public in public administration these days have dwindled, and you know the reason why, because UPSC made scoring in public administration quite difficult. Same is the cases with traditional subjects like geography and PSIR who have faced the brunt of UPSC. So you can't say that some bhaiya that you have known who must have qualified this exam using PSIR or geography as an optional 5 years back, you don't have to take the same subject now. So you have to realize it is not the scoring trend or overlap that should make you decide your optional subject. So this is one of the least or not at all important when you have to consider your optional subject. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Now the next criteria is the availability of resources. I say that this is one of the more important factors, and you know why, I'll tell you. First of all, when you're preparing for an optional subject, you need somewhat of an advanced level of knowledge of that subject. You can't just make do with GS level knowledge or a superficial knowledge. So to have a better understanding of your optional subject, you'll have to rely on standard textbooks. In some cases, there are many notes of the toppers that are available in the market, so you can secure that also. And suppose if you have problems in understanding the core concepts of your optional subject, you can also take help in a particular coaching. Now, to hone your understanding, to practice answer writing, I must emphasize that test series is probably the most important factor that should play an important role in the UPSC exam. Now, access to all these resources are not the same with each and every optional subject. As you can understand, the popular of the optional subjects like PSIR, sociology, anthropology, they have much more availability of these resources, right? Whereas the same can't be said about the other less popular optional subjects. So you can take an optional subject based on availability of resources, but you have to keep certain things in mind. First is, if the resources are limited, you'll spend most of your time in securing and gathering and consolidating your resources. So your precious time would go away, which you could have used otherwise in your essay and GS papers, right? So only you can take these, or you can consider this factor if you have picked up a popular optional subject where availability of a resource is not a big deal, right? And if you take an optional subject where resources are available but in a limited manner, it would slow down your ultimate progress. So keep that in mind, okay? Now, another factor is the time required to prepare. Now, for students who are in your college or who have left your job to prepare for UPSC, I don't think so you should adhere to this particular kind of emergency. This kind of a situation is more important for, let us say, working professionals who are working somewhere and at the same time they are looking to prepare for this exam. First of all, for working professionals, most of their time in the day, at least 7 to 8 hours are spent in their professional obligations. So you're only left out with 12 to 13 hours, which you can use productively for your exam or your preparation purposes. So you'll have to decide, or you have to prioritize what kind of an option you have to choose. Here, there are some optionals which include anthropology or philosophy, which requires lesser amount of time to prepare. Somewhat, you can prepare these subjects effectively in 3 to 4 months of time. But on the other hand, there are many subjects like history, geography, PSIR, law, etc., which require you to spend more amount of time, as much as 6 to 8 months. So please keep that in mind. If you have time crunch, if you're a working professional, then only consider picking up an optional which requires lesser amount of time. But if you're a student in college, if you're preparing for this exam full time after leaving your job or not taking your job, then you shouldn't pay more importance to this particular factor. Now, out of all factors there that we have understood right now, I'm yet to tell you the most important factor that should help you in deciding your option. And this factor is called as your interest and your aptitude in a particular subject. Now, ask yourself a question. Are you enjoying reading the particular content of your optional subject? The answer yes or no, that you only know. Similarly, you'll have to realize that the next 4 to 8 months, you will spend most of your time in studying an optional subject. And on the other hand, if you continue to dislike the subject, don't you think your preparation ultimately would suffer? Your consistency, your ability to retain whatever you have read will continue to suffer. So therefore, you should pick an optional subject only when you have an interest in the subject, where the subject matter actually appeals to you, you can relate it with. So what you're required to do, first of all, you don't have an idea of each and every option subject, that is understood. So what you can do, let me give you a tip. Just go through the syllabus of different option subjects and read a few pages of standard books if they're available online. You don't have to buy a particular book. Please don't commit that mistake. And if the subject matter, if the content feels enriching, it feels engaging, it is a green flag and you should pick an option subject. So out of each and every factor that we have considered, this is the most important of the factors. Please understand, you'll have to spend a major chunk of your time in the next 4 to 8 months preparing a subject. So why not pick a subject that is of your interest, right? So this is the most important factor. Now the next question is how to pick an option subject. The answer is very easy. I've told you many factors. First and the most important factor is your interest in the subject. Then comes your educational background. And then comes the availability of resources. So you have to prioritize based on 3 factors. But if you're a working professional, you can also consider the time taken to prepare an optional subject, and you can pick up an optional subject which is less intensive and less cumbersome in nature. Now, suppose after reading the syllabus, you have interest in 3 to 4 subjects, and this is very common. So what you need to do is, first of all, shortlist the 3 and 4 subjects in which you have highest interest. And this can be based on your interest and your education background. What you can do afterwards is download the syllabus, which is available in the official UPSC notification brought before the form or the documentation process begins. Now you can download it from the UPSC website. Similarly, just go through 10 to 15 pages of standard textbooks which are available on the internet of these 3-4 subjects. And if still you can't make your mind, there are model lectures available of most of the option subjects on YouTube. Most of the coaching institutes, their demo classes, their first lectures, they have uploaded it for free. So you have multiple resources that you can utilize to come to a decision. Now what you need to do, you don't have to procrastinate. You'll have to make this decision as quickly as possible, and don't take more than 2 weeks of time to decide, right? So this is how you should pick your option subject. According to me, the interest overweighs each and every other factor. Okay. Now I have also something that I wanted to let you know. Suppose if you are looking to prepare for this UPSC exam for a longer duration, what you can consider is picking a GS Foundation batches for UPSC, which we are offering for the students who are looking to give exams in 27 and 28. Now there is one very sweet deal that we are going to offer you, that suppose if you take admissions for 27 or for 28 batches, we have an offer for you which will continue only up till 20th of September. Suppose if you take admissions in the resolution plus batches, which are GS foundation batches, you can also pick an optional subject which will be offered to you for as much as rupees 9,999 only. And you'll get this rate only if you use the code ATS Live on the website and you pick an optional subject alongside the GS foundation courses for either 27 or 2028. So please keep that in mind. Okay, you can go to our website. Before making the payment, just ensure adding the coupon code called as ATS Live. It will give you maximum discounts on not just GS or optional, but even state PCS and judiciary courses. If you need any help, we have a number 9740231070. You can give them a call. Give them my reference that I've referred it to you. They will help you out in your obligations. Okay. Now, the notes, once again, they will be made available on this Telegram channel, and we also have courses for 2026, which you can look and opt for. Please do remember, you have to apply the code ATS Live. It will help you get maximum discounts. Okay. So I'll take your leave. Please have a very good day.